for it to sync up.
Dude, if you make me cackle, I'm gonna have to.
I'm really worried about your cackling into the mic. You gotta tilt away from it.
That will be the goal. I wish we could. I want to get the cackle on video and audio.
The goal
says they want the cackle, and you get the cackle, and you're like, oh.
If you're listening to the cackle in headphones, yeah, your eardrum's good to go. But
bleeding.
The goal will also be that I don't have to pee. But that's the joys of having a guest, because then I could go pee.
Yeah.
And I don't have to pause it. And Mark doesn't have to monologue again.
If you listen to that episode, it was the most awkward thing for me.
That was the most downloaded episode of all time, dude.
Which episode was that?
I don't even know.
The low back?
I think so.
I think it was low back, because then I went into some monologue of like the hinge, and I wasn't doing a very good job. Like, okay, so Ian's gone, and
it started out.
So the hinge is like
You start sounding like a teacher. Yeah.
Thanks for that, by the way.
Oh, I know. But today we have Brittany, so you could talk to Brittany while I'm go pee, because I'm on my second coffee. It's inevitable, dude. It'll happen.
I'm pretty wired. What kind of coffee is this? This is good shit.
I got us Dark Horse coffee. Shout out Dark Horse. And Mark's a cold brew guy, and this is next level cold brew. It's heroin into it. I didn't specify if I was at Starbucks or not. But we have Brittany P, the LAC.
Oh, are we recording?
Yeah, we're recording. Wait,
oh, hey guys.
We're live already.
Hey, I thought we were still testing.
Yeah.
Hi, Brittany P, the LAC.
Oh God. There's a small cackle already.
That
Brittany,
wasn't the full one. I can't.
Not yet. We'll get it later when we're fully rolling. Remember, if you just fast forward to 30 minutes into the podcast, that's when it really begins.
In all of
them. No one gets to the last halh hour, because remember, I think
the last 15 minutes are the best.
The last 15 minutes are always the best, and I see the stats. Actually, last week, 95%. Almost everybody finished it.
So out of 10 people, half person didn't finish.
What if it's less than 10, actually? No, Brittany is my office mate. She sits right behind me 5 days a week and has to put up with me. And we've been working together 3 years?
It'll be 3 in August.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
3 years of putting up with me. Brittany is an acupuncturist, and she runs a business called Open Channel Acupuncture. Mm-hmm. Shout out Open Channel.
Thanks. OCOM turned 4 last week.
4 years in business.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty good start. Where did you... Well, first start off, when did you decide you wanted to be an acupuncturist?
So I should have told you this before. It's not a romantic, beautiful story. I went to PCOM, Pacific College of Oriental Medicine, for massage. My mom is kind of a little high standard. Shout out JP, high standards. She's like, that's fine, but you can't massage forever. It's a pretty physically demanding job. You have to get some sort of degree. So I was like, all right, fine, whatever. Without even looking into it or knowing about acupuncture, I signed up for the master's program because it'd make my mom happy.
Without ever getting treatment too?
Never getting treatment.
Wow.
I was like, I'll just have the degree, but I'll massage. I'll never be an acupuncturist. And halfway through my first semester, I fell head over heels in love with acupuncture and dropped massage and never looked back.
So you could do both there at that school?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
A lot of people do that. They start out massage and then get their associates, go for the master's.
What made you fall in love with it? In a nutshell.
It just made so much more sense that they don't look at, they're not like, you go to the doctor and it's like, okay, it's your stomach. We're going to focus just on your stomach. What med can we give you? What have you been doing wrong? Oh, your stomach is fine now. It's a whole picture of like, well, what are you eating? How's your stress life? Are you happy in life? And also, how's the rest of your body working? It's all interconnected and it's a whole system and natural. And it's not, yes, we do herbs, but acupuncture is using your body's own reserves to heal itself. There's nothing in the needle. The needle doesn't inject anything. It's just kind of like putting little red flags in your body of reminding it how to heal itself. And I thought that was really awesome. It puts the power of healing back into the patient's hands where they're the ones actually doing it. I'm just reminding the body how to. And that's why I thought it was a really empowering medicine, and that's how I felt.
So, I've met a lot of people that go to PCOM, because where is it again? In San Diego?
Down by Friars Road, next to the mall.
It's a pretty big school?
It's a small campus, but it's the second in the nation. So we have San Diego, Chicago, and New York.
I've met a lot of massage therapists from there, a few acupuncturists. The first acupuncturist I ever worked with was very holistic. So, like, if I referred him a patient and said, like, his shoulder hurt, he would be like, okay, let me needle their hands and feet, and then like he would just rinse, repeat that over and over, and then try to pitch herbs and
Herbs is a big thing that
Yeah.
I've experienced.
And I was like, what the hell? Like, I sent you his shoulder and it's inflamed and his neck is tight. And a lot of my patients would be like, I'm not going to go back unless he actually, like, puts needles in my shoulder and, like, tries to address it. He just kept doing, like, full body over and over. But then my next acupuncturist I worked with for a brief time went to PCOM as well. And she was like, oh, I'm orthopedic based. And, like, if I sent her a shoulder, she would treat the shoulder. If I sent her a knee, she'd treat the knee. So when I met Brittany, I was like, she's like, oh, I'm same school, I'm orthopedic. And I've been referring her a ton of patients for it, and we'll get into that later. But it was like the same kind of nice marriage of that, because I was like, man, it's very vital to have in my office for recovery, and that's kind of what we want to address in today's episode is how we've implemented acupuncture into recovery, sports injury evaluation, because she treats a lot of athletes too. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, PCOM's pretty big. It's massage, and so you get massage and acupuncture at the same time, or do you have to?
How long is the program?
Yeah,
because I always thought I wanted to do, at a certain point, be able to do soft tissue work, because it kind of leads down that path with FixFit.
Yeah.
Like after doing a lot of the mobility stuff, and I did for Andrea and a lot of members, was like pushing into their forearm, getting them to move, whatever. Yeah. And I'm probably not supposed to, but it's like. It works, and I'm like, maybe I should get like certified.
This seems right. This is fine.
Because again, it's just through trial and error. It's like the lacrosse ball will give you that relief, and then if they can't reach it, I'm like pushing into their shoulder and getting them to move. And it's like, oh, okay.
I think there's a lot of
a tight knot.
Personal trainers will get ART certified for that kind of thing. It's an added service you could do too, but yeah, like you were saying, you could.
I don't like labels, bro. So
yeah, it doesn't really matter, man. I just like intuitively know where to put my phone.
Yeah, I do.
Oh, jeez.
Sorry, Andrea. All right. So the school for that is if you do the massage, it's 2 years, which is nice because then you have an associate. So if the degree is important to your mother, you can do that.
I gave up on the degree a long time ago. Yeah. My fitness specialist program was a year. Go ahead.
Wait, you dropped out of that?
No, I finished. It was a certificate program.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I have no degree, just so that people know my qualifications.
It's a certificate, and and degrees are different.
I have no degree, but I can stick my thumb in wherever I want.
Okay, there we go.
I can't do that, so
muscles.
I need that certificate.
What are you guys talking about?
I don't know. Let's go back to how long is the acupuncture program? Get away from these thumb and orifices.
Trying to lighten the mood.
Acupuncturists don't do that, I promise.
Okay.
So it was just a master's, and it was about 5 years to get the master's. They skip over bachelor's. But then the semester I graduated, they were like, oh, we now have the doctorate program. So there's no more master's, it's just doctorate. And the doctorate program is about 5.5 to almost 6 years now. So it's about 6 years of schooling to become an acupuncturist.
Whoa. Yeah. And without a bachelor's. What if you got a bachelor's? It's bachelor's plus 6?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Wow.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So now you're doing a doctorate program too?
I am, yeah.
What do they get to do? You don't have to do 6 years now.
No. Right. So it was, the nice thing about PCOM is they did go over and beyond with the master's program. So you were doing stuff that you didn't have to do.
Sure.
Getting more, I think 3,500 hours. And so it's just an extra,
that's crazy,
year. But I wasn't grandfathered in. So I was a little mad, so
because their master's was probably so in depth that all they needed was the credentialing to be a doctorate program.
Exactly. Yeah, the classes that I'm taking now, it has almost nothing to do with clinic. It's like research and preventative health and there's advanced diagnostics. So now we're doing MRIs and CT and stuff like that, which is nice because
that's the only thing missing in a doctorate, right? Is diagnosis.
Kind of. No, it's more like Western medicine, because in Masters we have to diagnose.
That's what I mean. I'm sorry. So in Masters you do diagnose, but I meant for E&M codes exam, and those are added on to a doctorate, or you already doing that? I don't even know
if we'll be allowed to use E&M codes after this, but it's more like how to work alongside Western medicine, how to work alongside you.
Right. So this is where Mark was saying he's going to be really quiet in this part, because he's like,
what the fuck are you guys saying?
What is an E&M code? So this is where, when we talk about PTs a lot, that PTs consider themselves they have doctorates now.
E&M what?
E&M Examine.
Examine.
I thought you...
Manipulation?
No, that's what I was going to say. I was going to say manipulation as the chiropractor, but I was like, E and exam. These are for insurance companies.
I kept hearing like EMT in my head. That's the only reference I had. I'm like, the fuck is
so here's
going on?
What are they doing?
Real quick.
You're going to be in the ambulance? That's cool.
So for PTs, they get a doctorate of physical therapy, right?
Okay.
So they have rights to be seen primarily. So you can go directly to a PT. But the PTs right now we're fighting for, they can't directly bill the insurance companies without a written authorization from a doctor first. That's kind of how Brittany works with like Kaiser, let's say. Brittany takes Kaiser and the patient comes to her, but she's like, I need a referral from the primary doc.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, as a doctorate now, do you still have to do that process?
Yeah, because that's just ASH. That's if it was directly with Kaiser, if they didn't deal with American Specialty Health. In California, I can be a primary care physician.
Sure, just PTs can too.
Yeah.
But they're not direct access like I am.
Yeah.
You can come directly to me, and I could bill your Aetna insurance and your UHC.
That makes sense now.
Yeah, I'm direct. They can come straight to me.
But this is why I'm glad you're here, because I'm explaining it for the listeners at home too.
Yeah.
I'm also direct, just so you know.
Direct access.
Hey
Those
now.
thumbs.
Hey
Those
now.
thumbs, dude. Those thumbs are real good access.
It's my hashtag for the next 2 weeks. Those thumbs coming at
Those
you.
thumbs, though.
So, Brittany, I didn't know that you didn't. I thought I had 2 friends in chiro school that just signed up for chiropractic school because their friends told them to. I was like, what kind of shit is that? I got treated for the first time.
Why would you go to school without wanting to go to school?
Oh, because they knew to be a doctor.
Oh, okay.
So they were like, I want to be a doctor.
thought they
No med
just, like-
school. Yeah, they were like, no med school, no DO program yet. DO programs weren't that big yet. And he was like, I'm just going to go to chiro school because my buddy told me to. 2 of them. And they'd never been to a chiropractor before. And it blew my mind. I had been going to a chiropractor since I was like 10 off and on. So I was like, okay, I guess I could go this route, yeah. But, yeah, for you to just go like, I'm just going to switch because his master's is a better doctorate or a better program for my mom to be proud of me.
Yeah, I just wanted her approval, guys. I have yet to get it.
I hope JP listens to this episode.
She's gonna be so mad
still
if I
waiting. Still
say
waiting.
she's proud of me. I tell you all the time I'm proud of you.
JP's been saving lives for a long time, so.
JP is a veteran. My mom, for listeners, JP, Jennifer Plummer, is my mom.
Yep.
Retired RN. She retired at top of her job, highest she could go.
Yeah. How many years in practice for her? Did she get her NP?
No, she had her associates. Yeah.
Wow.
Because back whenever she was a nurse, you could just have associates. She never went back to school. She just made it up.
All the way up to
How
the
many
top.
years did she?
35 plus.
35. That's what I was saying. I wish I could just do what I do for the next 35 years.
Yeah. JP did it. She still is kind of, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully she's listening right now when she's, her knee replacement.
Hey,
she's on bed rest, hopefully.
Yeah.
PT yet?
She's walking around now.
Oh, she's already walking around. Why?
Still
Because
with the wheels.
JP does kickbacks.
Damn it. JP does do kickbacks.
Interesting. JP did kickbacks before a knee replacement, and she's already walking. How much post-op?
A ton. She already went up the stairs to take a shower. Yeah.
Interesting, listeners. Kickbacks.
That is actually a huge for recovery. Her recovery is so much better after her knee replacement. She's 60-ish years old.
Yeah.
And
good call there.
Yeah.
Yep.
And she worked out with a personal trainer for 3 months before to build up, because all this had atrophied. And I kept telling her, I was like, you are going to have a hell of a time recovering. You're not going to be able to walk around as well. And so she did, and all her PTs, they're all, whenever she goes to push herself up, she can do it. She's not, shaking. She can lift her legs, and she's doing well.
Yeah, and you told me last week the PTs were actually impressed that she was able to do, she could fire her quad and her glute, and that's usually the PT's first thing is they're lying in bed after a knee replacement, and they just try to get them to do quad contractions, and a lot of patients can't because it's been atrophying.
Yeah.
And they never had practice doing it.
Mm-mm.
My mom just came out of surgery, and then she recovered fast and was discharged quickly, but she's been working on walking. She walks 5 miles a day, and I've been helping with her because she was like, I've been walking more, this part starts to hurt.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm giving her FixFit stuff.
Yeah.
And Andrea actually shot a video because for her to get discharged, you need to do a lot of walking.
Yeah.
So we're in the hospital doing laps around right outside the room, and it was a video of me fix fitting her walking.
That's awesome.
I'll post that up.
Cool.
But yeah, no one talks about the recovery on surgeries. It's kind of like they know that this is the process. Like after surgery, you're supposed to do these things.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be ideal to kind of give them that info before surgery? Like, hey, maybe you should work on kickbacks or something, quad activation. Maybe do some squats because before
your recovery is much better.
Because they know that after the surgery, there's a protocol to get you, function again. So
that's a good point because
nobody talks about that though. They're always like,
"Oh,
surgery! I'm having surgery." I'm like, "Okay, then what happens after surgery?" Just my aunt, she was going to do the carpal tunnel surgery. I was like, "Well, that's like almost 6 months of PT after the surgery. Anyway, why don't you do the PT before?" And she's like, "Nobody told me." I'm like, "You don't just wake up from surgery and like, oh, sweet, I'm
got
fixed.
full strength in my hand again."
And then they start giving you things like, okay, maybe like work on your flexors or your bicep and then you're like, I've never even used those. And now after surgery, you want me to fire them?
Yep.
Like, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Atrophying means that you just haven't been firing that muscle for a long time, and so much so that you're losing muscle definition and activation of it.
Yeah, it's not strong anymore.
Yeah.
I always tell people at my gym, is like, all right, even if the route is surgery, that's fine. I support that, but it's build a solid foundation going into surgery so the recovery's faster.
Yep.
So, and then my hope is like kind of like, okay, if you keep doing these drills that you start to feel no pain, you're like, well, they come to that conclusion that like, okay, maybe I don't need it or I can postpone it for a couple months.
Yeah.
It's funny because I try to pride this office in being injury assessment and pain relief, right? Mm-hmm. Like we sit down in our team building meetings and we try to go, okay, Ian's gonna injury assess, Brittany's injury assess, everybody's constantly injury assessing. And I'm looking at biomechanics of movement, of the shoulder stability and hip stability, and then Brittany's doing her end. But like we always preach, like the end of the day, we want our patients just to feel better and move better, right?
Yeah.
So, but what's interesting in JP's case, going into a knee surgery, she's working out with a trainer 3 months before, and she was here getting massaged and getting acupuncture before surgery. Yeah. So the topic of this week is recovery, but we have her already in like pre-recovery.
Yeah.
Coined. Yeah. Boom. Pre-recovery. Boom.
Pre-recovery.
Pre-recovery.
Look at this Dark Horse coffee right now. Holy shit.
On another level.
Already hitting level 12.
Pre-recovery.
That's pretty good.
Damn.
That could be a
pre-recovery.
T-shirt.
Yeah, exactly.
No, pre-recovery.
Pre-recovery.
What the hell?
I don't know, dude. I'm not the ideas guy.
No
like,
shit.
Coining shit. I just
You're the ideas guy.
I am the ideas guy.
With the tags.
Okay, you're the tags.
That's my role here, guys.
But that's awesome.
You're also not the math guy, I heard.
Oh my god. I was so excited when I heard that story because it's 100% true.
Yeah.
I wrote out a post-it and I was like, don't talk to them. Hand them this post-it.
They should give you 6 $5 bills.
Yeah. And he was like, but why don't I just... And I was like, shh.
Just give them the...
We all have our strengths.
And the Wells Fargo people know me well at the funds right here, so I was like, I just handed them this and I was like, my work told me to give you this and I just can't say anything. And they were just like, okay, here you go. It's like, damn, everyone loves that story.
That's a good story.
Yes.
So,
recovery's the topic.
Yeah, recovery's the topic because in our fix, fit, and exercise world, we're always promoting being healthy, taking care of your body optimally, right? So
a big part of training is recovery, and we have pretty much all the recovery tools at our gym. Like we have all the Theracanes and foam rollers, lacrosse balls, all these weird gadgets. And before, what we knew is to do a lot of this on our own because that's what we've learned is like kind of that self-care. And it's important. But now, since FixFit, I've kind of gone away from it for 2 reasons. One, it didn't net us the results we were looking for. As in, like, if you want better shoulder overhead mobility or your knee keeps hurting, like we keep rolling it out and it was still hurting.
Yeah, if you have a tendonitis and it's inflamed.
Yeah, and it's like you keep running these shin splints, you keep rolling out the shin splints, right, or whatever.
Yeah.
And you keep going, and so after 6 months, a year, a couple years, you're like, well, this isn't working for the sake of fixing it. Right. And 2, what I realize is that coming to see you guys is I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Because then it's like the traditional mindset. I have a pain in my trap. It makes sense for me to dig that Theracane or lacrosse ball into that knot as hard as I fucking can, because it kind of gives you that sense of feeling good. Mm-hmm. But understanding how the body works now, that trap is guarded for a specific reason. to protect you probably.
Yep.
So digging into it might feel good temporarily, but doesn't answer that question, why is it tight in the first place?
Exactly.
So that's why it's like going to professionals to do it. It'll save a lot of time, and you're not kind of working against the grain. So I really don't do like the general recovery anymore.
Yeah.
That's why I've had little debates and stuff saying like stretching doesn't work or mobility doesn't work for the sake of fixing something.
Right.
You should still do like use the lacrosse ball. I'm not saying that's not good, or you should still stretch, but that should be done like post. You know, you just beat your muscles up.
Well, let's take a case, sciatica, right? They could roll out their glute, they could start activating their glute, they could start working on their cord, and maybe the sciatica comes and goes and becomes intermittent, right? They come see me and I'm you got an SI joint sprain. You got a lower back strain in the muscle and it's spasming. And I'm saying, go get a massage now to roll out or to flush out all this inflammation out of the QL. But then when I send them to Brittany, I always go, look, the sciatic nerve will go from your lumbar spine all the way down to the back of your foot. Right? Is my anatomy good there? You're still in school?
Yeah, you're good.
If that nerve is not firing all the way down to the back of that foot and you're getting numbness, tingling, or sharp shooting pain all the way down there, I can do my best to get your hip stability, your pelvis to get more stable, your glutes to fire, all that. We could get your inflammation levels down as much as possible with treatment, Epsom salt baths, and rest, whatever it's going to take. But if I want to work on that nerve and actually get the nerve pain down, besides a nerve blocking medication, I 100% always go, you should consider acupuncture right away. Because it's like, she needles down that nerve pattern is what I always tell my patients. She'll needle down that whole leg and actually get the nerve to fire the whole way down. Is that?
Yeah. No, it's actually, it's not up and coming. We've been doing it for years, but Dr. Corradino actually finally was like, all right, this is a thing. It's called neuropuncture. We're doing it. He now does CEU courses on it. He teaches about it. But it's actual points that he mapped out the acupuncture channels and then maps out the nerves, and they completely overlap each other. So that's why acupuncture, we can affect the nerves without we don't needle into the nerve. That's painful and it just causes trauma and more pain.
See, I gotta stop saying that.
Yeah, we don't needle.
I'm like, she needles the nerves, and then I'm like, oh,
right
damn,
that
sounds like an NCV and it sounds really painful.
Yeah. So we don't touch your nerves.
She hits points. And then I also call it voodoo, because I'm like, half the time I don't even know what's happening. I fall asleep and I wake up from treatment and I go, why do I feel amazing right now? I feel like somebody just massaged me for like an hour and a half and I slept, but I wake up and my stress levels feel down. I'm tired as hell after. I can't work out usually because I'm like so drained. And then I'm like, why does like my muscles feel better and all that? And I'm like, it's voodoo. I don't freaking know. I let Brittany explain.
We're hitting a bunch of things that's going on. So hitting the motor points of the muscle, which is tiny little motor points.
Is that the same as trigger points? Or?
No, different. So motor points don't really move. They can be different based on people's anatomy, but like the trap, it will always, I've done this one on the Facebook Live, it will always, always, always be right here, the motor point for the trap.
Like in the muscle belly.
Yeah, but then there could be trigger points, and you guys can feel trigger points whenever you're massaging yourself.
It's like the knots in muscles.
Yeah.
Yes, but it's like a little
So what's a motor point?
So the motor point, we get into it, and you actually, all the CrossFitters are going to be like, yeah, I've had this one. So we get into the motor point, and you actually feel the muscle twitch. And there's this usually on CrossFitters, especially with the traps, there's this huge twitch. And then I like to go in a couple more times, and I keep threading that needle, and you get a bunch of twitches, and then you feel the twitch kind of die down. And so when you get that twitch, what's happening is the muscle fibers are now relaxing, releasing spasm, releasing adhesions or knots, releasing trigger points, and also getting the muscle fibers to lay correctly. So you have less fascia buildup over the muscles because they're not constantly rubbing and spasming on each other. So we're hitting that, but then also I add in the neuropuncture. So for sciatica, you hit right below here.
Where's
below the
here?
bone right. Sorry.
Yeah, for
I
the
keep forgetting them. For the listener.
Okay.
I feel like Joe Rogan now. For the listeners at home. Down
all
on
5 of you.
Hey guys. High five to you guys. Kind of below your shin bone on your lower leg.
Your calf.
Your calf.
Ask Mark.
Your calf bone connected to your...
Well, Mark's got the...
bone.
She started using riblets.
I did. I use riblets.
Thank you.
They're so cute. I love it.
It's good, right?
Yeah. And
you say
muscle.
Exactly. You say serratus anterior and people glaze over it, even our coaches.
So what's this?
What's that? What are you pointing at right now?
I'm pointing at sexy calves is what I'm pointing at.
Is that the fillet?
The fillet.
Is that the fillet? That's the pork chop.
The gams. She calls them the gams.
I love them, the gams.
Okay, so from someone like myself who's just, I have no idea what acupuncture is. Mm-hmm. I've experienced it a few times. So what you're saying is the motor points kind of like jumpstart the muscles.
Yes.
So they like, because they're all fucked up, so it's kind of like you give
it's
it
like
a jump start so that muscle itself gets to recharge.
Yes, it's a defibrillator for them.
Defibrillator.
Yeah.
And then the nerves, when you do that, it's kind of now connecting it to the chain of muscles.
And then I will also add in inflammation, swelling, and overall pain levels. So it's like a whole picture. There's a ton that's going into your treatment. It's not just, oh, your trap hurts, I'm just putting in the trap. No, that's step one. But then also, if you're having numbness and tingling, I need now to go down the nerve a little bit, not hitting it.
And it makes sense because whenever you have an injury, it's either upstream or downstream, right? Mm-hmm. It's like your elbow hurts and they think it's the elbow, but it's muscles that could be tight from your pec, your trap. And so it makes sense to reset that tight guarded muscle and then get everything firing together the way it's supposed to.
Dude, I'm telling you, I had 2-3 cases like in a row of true sciatica down to the foot for like patients. One guy with like the guy had the disc rupture a little bit.
Yeah.
So he had the disc rupture pieces hitting his sciatic nerve, and we were getting like, I would get him to like move better, and he was doing like pistons to fire his glutes, planks for like a long time. So he was doing pistons all day at work, planks during work and stuff. He was doing great, but he'd be like, I still have numbness tingling. And I'm like, dude, I can't work on the nerve. Like, I give me like 6 to 8 weeks, maybe it'll go away, hopefully. And it wasn't after like a month. And I was like, please see Brittany. Like seriously, like 2 sessions and it was gone. And I was like, this is freaking crazy. So then I started referring like anybody that has something similar to that. And it's like anybody with numbness tingling down their arms or like their hands are falling asleep like that. It's like immediate. Yeah. It's pretty cool.
So definitely more for nerve, you'd say? Like someone that has the numbness and tingling, that'd be like a go-to.
That's a nerve issue, yeah.
So we're talking injury. So if you have nerve pain, muscle spasm.
People get that a lot with overhead movements in CrossFit. Mm-hmm. Like they'll do overhead squat or snatch and then something pinches and they get that numbness and tingling. And it freaks them the fuck out.
Yep.
Because it's scary. It's like my arm's not moving the way it should or whatever.
Right.
So
or they wake up in the middle of the night and their hand's asleep or their arm's dead. Like,
sciatica is a big one too.
Sciatica is very scary. It's debilitating. So
yeah, it can take you out.
What else can acupuncture do? What else do you see patients for? Because I try to name some of these to my patients sometimes, but
I tell my patients I will treat anything except tinnitus ringing in the ears. I cannot. And some acupuncturists like, yeah, it's great. I got all my patients.
Wait, what is that? It sounds like tendinitis, but it's
tinnitus. So it's ringing in the ears.
Gotcha.
Really huge in the geriatric population, which I'm in Rancho Bernardo. I wish I could get tinnitus. I can't really work on. Fibromyalgia, I do a lot of work on, but those are tricky cases. Those are some of my favorite cases because I love a challenge, but those are tricky.
Fake cases, but
oh god, you and I will never agree. We can't settle on fibromyalgia.
Here goes my tangent.
Yep.
Here we go.
Fibromyalgia is a made-up disease. Okay, I'm gonna say it. I freaking can't stand it. I don't think there's any research to prove that from what I've read, that it's an actual disease. It is something where it's somebody that's in chronic pain from the patient presentations I've seen that they cannot figure out where it's coming from, so they label it fibromyalgia. They have 18 points on their body, and if you press 11 out of the 18 points, they diagnose it as fibromyalgia. Is there any other diagnostic criteria besides all these medications, all these therapies aren't working, 11 out of 18 tender points? And it's like,
is it muscle points?
Muscle points. And
you have 11 points?
Yes. 11 out of 18. So if you
could find 11 spots.
If you found 10,
yes.
I'm like, so if you found
20.
So if I find, no, there's specific points.
I feel 18, it now. I think I have it.
There's 18 specific points, okay?
I know, I'm just fucking
but
with you.
If I hit 10 out of them,
yeah,
not fibro. But if I get fucking 11? Now you have fibro?
I'm not 100% sure how they diagnose it. There are a couple
They're
of cases.
frustrated. They don't know what to tell these chronic pain people anymore. None of this shit's working for you, so you're fibro. I'm sorry if you have it and you've been lied to, but show me a goddamn study that shows me that it's actually a disease.
Well, we're more on that side of the soapbox.
Sorry, I'm on that side.
No, for sure.
It's so frustrating.
Look what you did!
I know. As soon as I said it, I was like, oh, God.
She's like, here comes Ian. Because every time I get on my soapbox with her, she's like, I got another fibro one. I go, I don't know. Because chiropractic care is supposed to be good for fibro.
Yeah.
Right? And I have fibro patients that tell me.
That's why you have to deal with it a lot.
Right. They come see me for fibro and they go, chiropractic care I read should help me. I'm like, okay. So I adjust you. And then if you tell me I can't take the treatment because the fibro hurts too bad. And I'm like, what? But like chiro care is supposed to help you, but the treatment itself is hurting me. So it's like I'm stuck in a catch-22 here. And it's like one of my first patients ever. I used to, when you're in school, student clinic, and you're like pressing on their upper trap, and you're like, does that hurt? And then I'm like pressing, and he's like, and then my lower back hurts, and I'm pressing on his lower back, and I'm digging really hard on it. I'm like, does that hurt? And my patient used to always go, if you press on anything hard enough, it's gonna fucking hurt, dude.
That's what I'm saying. You push into any.
So yeah, find these little 18 points. If I push hard enough, it's gonna hurt. And if you get a strong enough person to push on you, it's gonna hurt.
What's the I don't want to go down the rabbit hole with you.
Sorry, I went down the rabbit hole.
I'm gonna move on.
I
think we have the issue of just labeling things. People want to label it so
exactly.
then they can cope with it and just
and then
accept
they go, I have a diagnosis now. I have fibro.
Thanks for giving me fibro. I didn't even know I had it.
Just think of the word. Just think of the diagnostic word. Fibromyalgia. What does it mean?
Pain of fibers.
Pain of fibers. That's what it means. That's like saying I have tendinitis. And it's like, that's my problem. I have tendinitis. No, tendinitis is a fucking symptom. I have TMJ. Everybody's got a TMJ. Do you have TMJ dysfunction? Disorder. Put something on it. It's like, I have TMJ. Everybody wants that thing to label it, and it's frustrating. But Brittany tries to fix fibromyalgia with acupuncture because that's another one. But can you needle one of those 18 points to fix it?
A lot of the points that we needle for fibromyalgia are in those.
But do your fibro patients go, it hurts like hell when you needle it?
No, because I go so with my fibro patients, I find that I drain them if I do more than 10 needles. So I have a very strict protocol with my fibro patients, and it's hard because there will be days where they're like, I literally am so tired, I can't move, I can't come in today. I'm like, oh crap, you're gonna feel better if you get in here. Are you sure you can't make it in? They're like, I can't get out of bed. And I'm like, that's another week that they're not gonna feel good.
Just hearing from all that is just like, I'm the
movement
guy,
patients,
right?
Yeah.
Well, they're not going to want to see me because they think they can't move.
Exactly.
And I'm the movement guy. I always tell people you don't have a shoulder injury, you have a movement problem.
Right.
Because I'll get them to move their shoulder, and then they're like, oh, it hurts.
Yep.
And then I tell them which muscles they should be using to move their shoulder, and the pain's gone.
Yep.
So what just happened there?
And it's hard to treat them too because their pain moves. They'll be, this arm is debilitated today, and then tomorrow it's their left leg. There's no rhyme or reason to the pain. It's just a constant moving influx, and then there's flare-ups, and then there are times that are really good. And so it's a really frustrating, and I feel like fibromyalgia, I will agree with you on that, is a lot of doctors are just like,
all right, I'm frustrated, I don't know what it is, this is what it is.
I have a patient who was just diagnosed with it, and she's like, well, I guess I have fibro, and I'm like, oh, God.
And again, I feel bad for people that are in pain. So as bad as you hate fibro, it's the diagnosis or whatever, but it's more so like you're so mad because they're not getting the help they need. And versus like anyone listening that has fibro is like, you don't understand my pain. No,
exactly.
We get you, and we feel terrible that.
And I'm not saying if you walk into my clinic and say I have fibro, I'm not rolling my eyes at you. I'm rolling my eyes at the system and the way that they came about the diagnosis.
And the meds they put you on.
And the meds that you're on that don't work.
The meds, like the side effects for the meds, are usually the actual side effects of fibro. So you have the same side effects. So you're still feeling crappy.
Yeah,
but you're
crazy,
on this med, and they're like, well, your fibromyalgia will get better. No. Fibromyalgia, from what they're saying, it's a lifetime. And you're gonna die.
That clientele is exactly who Mark and I would love to work with, because it's like, I'm frustrated. I've gone to PT. I've done massage, acupuncture, chiro, meds, multiple doctors, and they finally just said I have fibro, and now I'm on a med that's not helping me. And it's like they're frustrated, and they got labeled something, but they don't get an answer for what it is.
I want more fibro patients.
See,
Shout
that's
out.
how
I would love, because again, mine's a movement based thing, and it sounds like if you have fibro, you guys deal with a lot more fibro patients that they're debilitated and they can't move and they can't do, their quality of life is gone. For me, I'm just trying to give function again, or regain that movement pattern so they can live life pain-free.
But go back to our low back pain episode. I think we talked about that neurological, or was it with Bob, where we talked about the neurofeedback pattern, that they're stuck in that loop, right? It was the anxiety one. If you go back and listen to the anxiety episode, I talk about that feedback loop of pain, and you're never getting out of it until you try some kind of new stimulus. And if the new stimulus is acupuncture and it works for you, great. If the new stimulus is getting adjusted, great. But you still, if that eventually tapers off and you go back to, I'm still in pain all the time, it's like you have to try something new. And I guarantee you they're all missing, all their underlying issue is bad movement, poor movement.
Because they're already in their head looking for it. So if you're not moving properly, you don't train that new stimulus, all you have is just one little pain to trigger your thought process to be like, oh, there it is again. And then you're going to be like, oh, there it is again. Because you haven't fixed anything. So I can see how that's like a never-ending cycle down the rabbit hole. It's like a
it's chronic pain, dude. Chronic pain is so hard to treat.
That sounds like
and it's hard
physical
to treat.
Anxiety.
Yeah, it's hard to treat because of the mental aspect of it. There have been so many times a patient comes in and they've been seeing me for a few weeks. They're doing pretty well. They go from a 7 to 10 out of pain. Now they're down to a 3 out of 10. And they're like, but it's still there. I'm still a little bit limited. I'm like, yes, look how far you've come, though.
That's the thing.
You have to keep going. But there is this plateau that I've found with patients, and I can't tell you the exact timing. They don't all follow the timing, but I know that appointment. They come in and they sit down and they're defeated, and they're just like, this isn't getting better. And I will roll out. I keep such close track of how everybody's doing. And I'm like, no, you are paddleboarding for 3 hours on Sunday. You're doing so much better. Yes, but I still can't bend over and tie my shoe. These kind of little things. And they hit this mental mind block where it's like, it's not getting better. 9 times out of 10, they cry in my room because they're just like, I am so tired of being broken. And they're defeated.
Yep, they're defeated.
Yeah, and that appointment, 99 out of 100 times with that patient, I don't even treat the body anymore. I'm treating the minds just to get them to calm down.
It's like a stress treatment.
Yes, take the edge off, where it's like, there is hope. You've gotten so much better. Yes, you have a little ways to go, but I can only do so much in 3 weeks. You still need that 3-month period where this is going to heal or this is going to get better.
And that's where we've came across to where, like, we get to this point and it's like, it's up to you to take the next step of bettering your life with your diet or movement or whatever exercise you want.
Get back to doing what you love, because that's what people get gun shy.
Yeah.
We have people in here that are all like FixFit now, and it's like they're afraid to hit workouts hard and enjoy CrossFit like they used to, because they're like looking for the next pain.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's like you can't have that apprehension. You got to take it and run with it and deal with it. And now you have all the tools. I could talk to Mark about how I'm moving. I can see Ian if my shoulder's feeling a little inflamed. I can see Brittany to just kind of simmer all my pain level and inflammation levels down. But if you don't look at it that way and you're just still stuck in that pain cycle, get a freaking therapist. I don't know anymore, you know?
It's true, because we all deal with that in our own field. It's like the chronic pain thing, man.
Yeah, it's the hardest thing to treat. But if we could get back, real quick, I want to highlight some more acupuncture testimonials. I see Brittany for sleep sometimes. If I feel like I don't sleep, actually I should probably make an appointment soon, because when I start hitting that 5 to 6 hours and I'm waking up, I'm not getting that sound like REM sleep anymore. I could feel my body it compiles over time, like a couple of weeks long. I'll see Brittany like one session and she knocks me out. I call it the stress needle. Yeah. The one that goes on top of my head. I
have patients who come in and they're like, Ian told me that you need to, and I'm like, I got you, boo.
Yeah.
You come on in, I knock you out.
It's a button that just puts me out. She comes back in and she's like, you okay? And I'm like, what? How long has it been? She's like 25 minutes. And I'm like,
4 weeks.
Yeah.
What year is it?
It's the next day. I just opened up the clinic.
It's 2020. And I go, I feel like a new person. But that's the one where I'm like, dude, I got to go home, veg out on some TV, and I'm just out again. I go to bed early that night. I wake up the next day, and it's like I've fully recharged. So I send people for that, stress, anxiety.
I went in for anxiety once.
For Acu?
Mm-hmm. Because I thought it would help.
Yeah. And? Well, some people would think it'd increase because you have needles. Well, the thing, the tricky part on that is that, I mean, I don't know if you know this, but like, if you have needles, it's like, you know, you can feel it. It's like, oh, the tricky part on that is that
you go in for anxiety, but being in a room face down gives you anxiety.
Yep.
So it's like you have to get past that. But if you can get past that,
that's what I said. You just gotta accept it. I'm in a dark, quiet room with no electronics for once. Just go to sleep.
What helps if you deal with that nervousness or whatever, you just tell the person, right? And I've told you and B that like, hey, it stresses me out if I start face down.
Yeah.
And then once you tell people, then it's all done. So.
Oh yeah, I have people who come in deathly afraid of needles all the time.
That too, I was gonna.
Yeah,
ask
you should highlight that because we've been talking about needling, and there's probably some faint people right now that are like, I can't listen anymore.
Yeah, I know. I always want to be like, should I demonstrate needling and how just non-obtrusive it is? And I'm like, no, because a lot of people will be like, and I'm out.
Yeah.
So I try not to needle in front of people, but when people are afraid of needling, I say, because it's true, if you don't like it, I stop. You are in complete control. It's not like some IV or injection where once we start, you're in it and you got to go through and you got to finish it. No, if you're not digging it, I stop and I'm like, all right, it's your body, you're the boss. But also the needles are so tiny and so thin, and I have different gauges so they get smaller and smaller and smaller.
I say it feels like an arm hair getting pulled out.
It can, yeah. A lot of people just don't really feel a whole lot. And then also with my patients, I don't make it a big deal because for me, I have anxiety. So if somebody's like, are you feeling okay? I'm like, oh shit, am I okay? Is everything okay? Should I be panicking? Yeah. So with my patients, I'm like, all right, so how was your weekend? And I'm just needling while I'm talking to them. While they're not paying attention, I'm not going to be
She does that to me.
Deep breath in and how was that? I don't focus on it. It's like, whatever, your anxiety is always going to be there. So we're just going to...
I brace really hard, but if we start talking, she's needling, I don't feel anything.
Yeah.
I just like think like I don't have anxiety about needles. Like I don't get scared for injections, but I'm always like, here it comes, and then like if she just talks to me, I don't feel anything.
It's the anticipation. I'm an acupuncturist, and I don't watch getting needled. I can barely needle myself. Like when I go in, I keep my eyes closed.
I like when you pinch the muscle really hard too, so I feel the pinch of the muscle actually, which hurts, and then I really don't feel the needle going.
Well, it hurts because your traps are wicked.
Yeah, they're pretty sexy.
Okay.
Pretty built. You're pretty close to my ears now, bro.
Not a thing.
Okay.
Hard pass.
We should, we'll try after the video. Mark's got a pretty bad upper trap. We should try to do the motor point on him.
I'm coming in Wednesday.
Mark's son himself IG'd me and said, can I come in? Andrew didn't even have to make this appointment.
Mark's son slid into your DMs?
Girl, yes. Who doesn't?
With trap pics, bro.
Damn. With 2 thumbs?
2 thumbs and...
You used 2 thumbs to slide in them DMs?
Trap pics.
Ooh,
trap pics.
He knew how to get me to say yes.
Yeah, girl.
You also do fire cupping. Are we talking about that too?
Yeah, we definitely are talking about fire cupping.
I think fire cupping, correct me if I'm wrong, it was more accepted and during like the Olympics where Michael Phelps had fire cupping marks.
It was more accepted in China when they were doing bloodletting actually. But I'm just kidding.
We don't do that. Nobody come in. It's so gross. It's therapeutic, but they lancet it and they put a cup and it fills with blood. I don't want to do that. I don't want to deal with that.
That's a lot of blood you discard.
Also, it's illegal in California. We can't do it, so I'm not even...
Okay, yeah, sorry. For the faint at home.
Fire cupping is not that, right?
No.
Just...
And also the fire doesn't touch the patient. It's just to get the suction. So what Michael Phelps was getting was the little suction gun, but it was accepted because PTs were doing it. It's the same exact thing that we're doing. Graston and gua sha.
Graston and gua sha, same concept of just mobilizing the muscle.
Yeah. Myofascial release. And I don't get mad though. I'm just like, it's the same thing.
I remember asking her, I was like, okay, if you're doing fire cupping with fire and glass, glass cups, and I'm doing suction cups with the gun, what's the difference? And she was like, sanitation. I was like, what? She's like, sanitation. I think the glass is cleaner. Yeah. And I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. So it's the same goal. I feel like with the cupping, she could do sliding cupping. That's nice.
That's really therapeutic.
That's
like the opposite of massage.
I had that right before Grace.
Yeah.
I did the charity event where I biked 800 calories or something the day before.
Yeah.
And then I had to do heavy Grace and double Grace. And then everything was tight. And then you were working that event. And that was the first time I got this sliding fire cup.
Great, dude.
And it kind of blew my mind because I didn't think my traps would release like that. Because I was so beat up. And when you get so sore, there's just nothing you can do.
Yeah.
But it actually works. So that's why I messaged you.
I think a lot of...
can you unfuck the trap? Because it worked last time.
Especially because, okay, so if Brittany was like, hey everyone at CrossFit Sun, I'm over in this corner needling you.
No.
Not gonna happen.
They like avoid eye contact.
Yeah, they're like, oh shit, what is she gonna do to me?
Melissa, hey Ian. Alright.
Just like for me, I don't go like, hey everyone from CrossFit Sun, come over here and get your neck cracked. I'm like, here's some kinesio tape and some ART, because like I'm just trying to show you the other things that I can do for your injuries, you know, as a marketing tool. So a lot of acupuncturists right now are always like, come in for a discounted fire cupping thing or a treatment, but I'm trying to low key, you know, flip it on you and go, hey, well, what acupuncture can do is this.
Well, it's the whole basic idea, right? The fire cupping is probably just there for the muscles and stuff. But we're not targeting the main, probably the root cause, which is the nerves.
Yep.
So.
But it's a selling tool, right? The fire cups look
helpful.
Cool.
Yeah, and I do appointments where I fire cup and do needles, so it's not one or the other.
Depends on the needs of the client.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. Sometimes
Isn't that strange?
This is what this episode's for.
Isn't this
It's
crazy?
so weird.
For the needs of that individual client?
It only took 45 minutes.
Versus following a pamphlet on a booklet on these exercises for the shoulder. It's like that
we're
one
into
size fit all, like, you have a shoulder pain, it must be these 12 exercises in this book. That's strange.
Yeah.
Anywho.
We're 45 minutes in and we are doing so good with our, when we didn't take an hour to get into it. We've been just on topic this whole time.
All I had to do was bring up fibromyalgia.
Oh, well,
that took 30 minutes.
Yeah, I could get Brittany on a soapbox.
Oh, God.
What's acupuncture versus dry needling? Why can't I dry needle?
I
have a lot of chiropractic friends in Arizona, Washington, Idaho. They're all dry needling. Why can't I do it?
So for the listeners at home, I just murdered Ian with my eyes. So dry needling, okay. Dry needling is acupuncture. They try to say it's not. They say, no, we're just hitting trigger points with a filiform needle, an acupuncture needle.
I could do that. So hard about it.
So
I've watched YouTube videos. I could do dry needling.
So for the dry needlers,
I went to a weekend seminar to learn this crap.
I don't even need that.
So hard.
For the people who do dry needling, I appreciate and I love that you understand that it's helpful.
Yeah, that's a good sign.
Yeah,
so
I love that it's spreading.
From the chiros that are doing it.
If somebody does dry needling on you, they went to a weekend course. They did about maybe 5 to 10 hours of learning how to insert needles into your body. What I did was 3,500 plus, and I had to see 350 people before I was allowed to insert a needle on my own.
Same thing.
Yeah, but I'm a doctor, so.
You're a doctor. Okay. So an MD knows that the lung, for the listeners, I'm pointing to the lung. They know the lung's right here, but if they're going to needle the trap, they're going to go straight into the trap, and they're going to hit your lung. You're going to have a popped lung. It's a pneumothorax. You got to go to the hospital. But an acupuncturist, dry needlers, don't think that you can just steal this. We pick the trap up from the lung. The lung is no longer in the middle of your trap, and we needle it so you don't have a pneumothorax. We know how to needle your pec without.
Dude, what if my seminar went over that? I'd be fine.
We know how to do your abdominals and your obliques without popping your kidney or your liver or your organs.
I'm a doctor. I know where those muscles are and
you know where
organs
are.
You
don't know how to touch them.
You don't know how to needle them.
You don't know how to needle them.
So dry. I didn't even know this was a thing, but people are doing like a bootleg version of acupuncture. Yes. But at least the good thing is I guess it's working, so they're trying to copy it.
Yeah.
So it's like a good sign because it's like you want people to start.
And because
and I love that they're like, this is working. And the whole reason dry needling came about is Janet Travell was doing trigger point injections, and she realized, I don't know how, I don't have somebody from the 70s, I think.
Oh, okay.
So
an acupuncture?
No, doctor.
Oh, doctor.
Or PT. Anyway, Janet Travell was doing trigger point injections, and she somehow came across, I don't need to inject anything. The actual needle in the muscle is what is getting the muscle to release. Sometimes you do need an injection. I'm not totally ruling that out. But so then she was like, how many muscles can I do this to? And she mapped out. But what she didn't realize is we have a 1,000-year-old book that has these same exact points that she is using. It was already mapped out. She didn't invent anything. She just found something that was already found and she renamed it. So yes, it's helpful, and yes, Western medicine is catching on, but then they're kind of like shitting on acupuncture. So like, no, it's totally not acupuncture. Acupuncture just works on channels. And we're like, yeah, but you're using our points. It's like it's like somebody using a scalpel and saying, well, I'm not a surgeon, but I'm going to remove your kidney with this scalpel, but it's something else.
It's not a scalpel.
No, it's like
a
Graston.
spork.
Yeah.
It's a spork, so I can
spoon?
cut and spoon it out.
I could spoon. Or
I've
no,
got
a spork.
kidney.
I got a spork for it. One of those plastic sporks. No, it's like Graston. People ask me all the time, what is it? And like, why is it Graston? I'm like, Graston is just like the layman's term for it. But I'm using a beveled edge to break down your muscle. If I had to chart it, I put IASTM, instrument-assisted soft tissue mobilization. Okay, I abbreviate it like that. But what does it all boil down to? Freaking gua sha. Gua sha's been around for...
You were the first chiropractor to say that. Everyone's like, oh, it's so different. And I was like, okay.
Because I use a stainless steel tool,
Yeah,
I'm different. But
different.
if she uses a buffalo horn or a jade stone, you know, she's a Chinese practitioner.
Yeah,
know,
it's
like
literally
Chinese
the same
medicine
thing,
practitioner.
I got a Chinese pedicure, so
Yeah.
it wasn't a Vietnamese lady, it was Chinese, so I'm qualified.
Yeah.
His foot is Vietnamese.
No, seriously.
My
Yeah,
hands are Chinese.
and I
It's
can
different.
wash out you.
Chiropractors took these stainless steel tools and went, we do Graston, we do
Look
hot
what we
grips.
invented.
We
And then-
invented this, and it's like, no, gua sha's been around since the dawn of time, and so is
Yeah.
cupping, and so is acupuncture.
And we don't care. We're like, yes, it works. Spread it. Just don't shit on us while you spread it.
That's a good point. That my whole point back then was you have these techniques now that everyone's doing, and I realized for myself in my gym, right, like we used to program it in the cool downs and use the lacrosse ball, so we have all these kind of ART or SMR techniques, but I realized we didn't know how to do it efficiently. So therefore, it's kind of the same thing. Like, people know that you should buy a lacrosse ball and all these Theraguns and stuff like that because it feels good, but you have limited knowledge of doing it, so you can get the negative, like you get a negative effect from it, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
So dry needling might have that same thing where they think they know what they're doing maybe, but if there's a higher risk, I guess, of doing it wrong. So
Yeah, it's such a high risk that it's actually been outlawed in California. So if anybody says I offer dry needling,
in California it's illegal.
California,
well, see, that's
it is.
even
I was
a
gonna
bigger.
Yeah.
It's not like lacrosse balling yourself is illegal.
Remember
That's
we always say, like,
a big red flag,
There's
right?
just so many chiropractors out here. They have all ruined it by when we could dry needle, right? At one point, and then we lost
and
it.
PTs too. They were all dry needling, and they were popping too many lungs. Way too many things happened.
That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, because they just didn't do enough schooling. It's not like, ooh, only acupuncturists we have the ancient knowledge. No, we did the work. Become an acupuncturist if you want. Just stay in your lane. I'm not adjusting people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I stay in my lane.
Shout out
whatever.
PTs trying to adjust people.
So
I won't go on that
I'm gonna
soapbox.
go back to my gym, put away my dry needles.
Yeah.
Yes.
Gonna
Put away your cups.
Put away my cups.
Put away your factor blades, and just let us do it, okay?
Yeah, just let us do it, guys. We know what we're doing.
So, when you say, okay, so acupuncture, I always say Brittany's a hippie. So she prescribes herbs for things. She howls at the moon at night and recharges her moonstones.
Yeah, right?
Don't you like recharge moonstones with your lava lamp and shit?
Yeah, I'm not the one with the lava lamp. That was Melissa.
Oh, okay. See, okay.
It's
gotta
my
save that.
incense.
She's a hippie, but Brittany also, like we've been talking, most of the examples we're talking about are sports injury, but she considers it orthopedic based acupuncture, right? So she looks at the full body and knows injury, but shout out more of your hippie side. Go over like herbs real quick. And
So herbs they're kind of less hippie because herbs, they are...
I know, I'm just making funny.
I know. But I could align your chakras. I love the hippie and I love the Western. That's what I love about Chinese medicine is we learn so much Western. So I can hang with you. We can speak the same language, but then also...
Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes.
Till we get to SI joint.
Oh, that's what it...
Okay, go on. Sorry.
I gotta take a pee break now. So yeah, herbs are not to be taken lightly. I don't just tell you go to the Sprouts and pick up rosemary. Herbs, they are pharmaceutical. No, not pharmaceutical. They can be pharmaceutical grade, and they can also cause a lot of damage. Like everyone was taking ephedra for weight loss, but in Chinese medicine, we use ephedra it's a bronchodilator, so we use it for asthma patients. So what you're doing is just speeding up your heart rate, which is not really speeding up your metabolism. And then all these people had, and what was it, fen-phen? Yeah, fen-phen also, that people were like, oh, this herb, it's harmless, and it's not. It can really cause heart issues. But whenever we're prescribing it, and it's really helpful with little kids with asthma too, it's safe because you have a licensed herbalist who knows the dosages, knows what to look out for. So herbs are really helpful. I don't get to do a whole lot because herb compliance is it's hard because herbs do take a lot longer. They can take a lot longer.
You're like mixing tinctures and...
No, I usually do pills.
Oh, pills.
Yeah, patients don't really take tinctures. They don't really like raw herbs because it stinks up the whole house. So there's a herbal pharmacy right down the street that they will take a powdered formula. So I can customize a formula to you. So say I need to put you on this one formula, but you also have high blood pressure. So I'll take out the licorice because licorice can raise blood pressure. So I'll modify it. No licorice, put in a different herb that has the same actions, and they'll press it down into a pill so that you can take it into a pill.
I know Deej is listening like, so she puts red vines into like my...
Fuck.
Into
DJ,
my ginger root?
The answer is yes.
If I drink the liquid with the red vine while taking licorice,
If I use a...
like licorice inception. I'm just...
Yes.
He's probably like...
Yes.
Deej is probably like, if I take a licorice red vine and use it as a straw with my Zevia root soda...
Stevia root.
The answer
Does that
is
make me an
yes.
acupuncturist?
Yes.
Well, the hard thing about
You're now on
herbs
herbs.
and supplements like that, it's like just the cancer world's big on it. You take a lot of different things, turmeric and curcumin and all this other stuff. But the hard part with it being like accepted, I guess, because people want that quick fix, they want to feel it.
Yeah.
But just think about how big fish oil's been, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't feel jack shit from fish oil, and you never will. I mean, you'll probably maybe in the long run have less joint pain, but you never will equate, like, you just hope that you take this multivitamin.
Yeah.
And that it covers your bases so you don't get ill or you get, less symptoms. But you really can't. You don't just take, like, high-dose curcumin or turmeric and then all of a sudden it's like my allergy's gone. So I think that's going to be, like, a big hurdle.
You could stop taking it after a while and see if it changes
It's
anything.
more like
Oh, yeah. It makes an effect when you stop taking it.
I think
My mom had to
that's-
stop taking all that stuff for her surgery, and she was dying.
I think that's the difference is when you do a lot of that for a long time, then you get accustomed to that feeling.
Yeah.
And then when you remove it, then you can tell, which is very difficult. No one wants to put in that much work.
Yeah.
But it is important because through the cancer process, I've learned that, like a lot of people take a bunch of holistic herbs and supplements.
Yeah,
to
but if
get
you do
better.
something like chemo, it's got immediate side effects, so people know what it's doing,
Yeah. We work with, acupuncture does really well with cancer patients, especially if they are doing chemo radiation. We don't, in the States, we don't say, we cure cancer, we don't work on the cancer.
Mm-hmm.
But if somebody is having chemo and they have really bad fatigue and really bad nausea, we'll do acupuncture for fatigue, acupuncture for sleep, and pain. Chemo can cause a lot of pain too, and headaches, weird side effects, also neuropathy. Chemotherapy neuropathy is huge, where they lose feeling in their fingers or toes.
Gotcha.
So we will battle against that while they're going through chemo. So we work on the side effects. We work on making you feel as best as you can while you're going through chemo. And radiation too. Radiation is just, it's a lifesaver, but it really can put the body through a lot. And so we have salves for the radiation sites. It's like barbecuing this human. But it saves their life. So we'll work on the radiation site. We work on the side effects of radiation. They get weird rashes in other places. So we just kind of help them through the process so that they can be a little more comfortable while they're healing.
So there's really no, like, people...
She kind of sounds like me because I feel the same way. It's like, oh, you have a shoulder thing, you have knee surgery, you have this going on, sciatica. I'm like, I think moving better will help you.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing for you. It's like, I think acupuncture could help you.
There's really no limits.
There's no limit because
Yeah.
I'll anyone that comes in and is like, oh, I've been typing, I have carpal tunnel. I was like, well, I think I can help you with movement. And I think it's the same thing.
It's definitely...
And it's nice too, because same with you, if what you're doing isn't working for the patient, you can change it, you can tweak it. It's not like, well, we have this regimen if it's this or not, or nothing. If this isn't working, then you need to move on to the next. I'm like, no, let's change it around. Let's change the movements. Let's change the workout.
The good thing about the herbs and what you do and what I do is if you try it, there's no side effects.
Yeah.
That's what you talked about earlier. It's like, okay, you get acupuncture. If it helps, great. If it doesn't, it's not detrimental. Like you just got a surgery,
Yeah.
There's no lasting negative effects.
Yeah, you might feel sleepy today, but
If I give you exercises for your lat, your teres, your riblets, whatever, and your biceps, and then your carpal tunnel's still there, for me, it's just kind of like a test and retest. Okay, those weren't causing it, didn't help, but you just got stronger muscles in other areas, which isn't a bad thing.
Yeah.
So for people considering acupuncture, what would you say is a standard treatment plan?
Well, let's start with who do you want to treat, or like what is your ideal clients? Because we have this discussion where I want to treat the people. I mean, I can help anyone, athletes, general pop and this and that. I kind of gravitate towards the people that are like lost in the system. They've tried PT, they're about to get surgery. Like, I want to work with those patients, I guess. So, because I already deal with a lot of athletes, I guess, or CrossFitters, which is good, but I want the people that are kind of like last hope. I want to be that. So who do you like to work with? What is your ideal clientele? Even though you can help a wide range.
I don't really, with the last hopers, I don't really get a choice with that. I get a lot of last hopers. They're like, I tried PT, I tried this, I tried this, I tried this. If you don't work, then I'm getting surgery. And I'm like, oh, shit. All right, well, I hope
I like that, though.
It
I
puts
like
pressure on it. If they give me at least, give me a month at least, not two.
Tell them, that's what I'm saying.
I get one meeting, you get a month.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing.
Ian will send me someone, I get this one, people come in, they're probably already like, oh, what is this CrossFit guy going to do?
That's why I told Mark, I have
and
Mark.
I'm like, I have 30 minutes with this person I know nothing about yet, and then...
That's why I try to tell him, I'm like, you should do an intake form. You should go over a history, which he does well, and then I'm like, you should prescribe them re-exams.
Oh, for sure.
Do this for a week, do this for the next week, and come follow up for a re-exam, basically.
Yeah, you really need to adopt that.
Retest.
Because I'm very straightforward with patients. I'm like, here's what typically happens. It's not a textbook, though, so this is what I'm expecting for you, but you need to come. That's one thing that I actually really love about working with Ian that I noticed from the beginning. He's not like, I have a package, you're going to be here twice a week for the next 12 weeks, standard. Buy the package at the front. Yeah. He says, this is typically what happens, but come back next week and we can reevaluate. So I tell my patients, come back. When you come back, if it's not, if you're not debilitated, come back in about a week and we'll see how you responded. We'll see if you got relief. We'll see how long the relief lasted. We'll see what it was that caused the relief to end. And
then treatment plan from there.
And then, kind of treatment plan from there. But I do tell them, give me at least 5 appointments before you rule it out as you're completely cured and you're never seeing me again, because more than likely you'll be back in 3 months with it worse. Or you think it's absolutely not working. I keep a close eye on my patients. I'm like, all right, so you feel better, and let's see what it was. Was it the acupuncture? Even I'm skeptical about what their treatment plan is. I'll have patients who come to me and they're like, yeah, I feel a lot better. I don't know what it was. Sometimes I'll be like, I've been working on you for 2 months. Give yourself the permission to accept that you spent all this money and all this time and all this effort into acupuncture. Don't be like, well, I got a new pair of shoes, so I think that helped my headaches. I'm like, no.
New pillow. I got a new pillow. I think that's what it is.
A new mouse at work. And I'm like, bro, you've spent money on this.
Yeah.
Allow yourself. You're not being duped. It's not snake oil.
Yeah.
Just accept that it worked for you. You don't have to tell anybody. You can keep it a secret. But
I get that a ton. I work with someone and then they get that immediate feedback that the pain's gone, they're moving well. But I'm more of that tough parent, right? Like, you know what to do now. Go fucking do it.
Yep.
And then I maybe see them again or check in again once in a while, and then they're like, oh yeah, I tried this thing, I tried that thing, and it worked. And I'm like, okay, or it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And I just don't have the time, I think, to keep tabs on them, because that's not my profession, I guess. I'm just I'm helping people on the side, like my side hustle.
Yeah.
But
that's where we're working with Mark with patients together for the past 3 years. It's been fun watching him learn. God damn it, sometimes with these patients, they have everything in their hands. Why aren't they doing it? And it's you have to let them go. You have to let them go. We gave you everything we can. It's up to you at this point now, right?
Yeah, I have a hard time with that.
It's very hard because you put